Hey, heart riser, ever walk away from someone and think, wait, was that love? Or was I just manipulated the whole time? 1 minute they're your biggest supporter. The next they're tearing you down, ghosting, twisting your words, or playing the victim after they hurt you. Was it a narcissist, a sociopath, maybe even BPD? If you've ever felt emotionally whiplashed and blamed yourself for it, this video's for you. We're not diving into textbooks today. We're talking real-life patterns. You don't need a psychology degree, just an open mind, a bit of curiosity, and maybe a journal nearby. Let's unpack cluster B disorders without jargon, so you can finally stop doubting your gut and start protecting your peace. All right, Heartriser, let's lay the foundation. In the DSM-5, the manual therapists use, there's a group of personality disorders called cluster B. It includes narcissistic personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder, aka sociopathy, borderline personality disorder, and histrionic personality disorder. We're going to focus on the first three, because they're the ones you've probably seen all over TikTok, Reddit, or maybe even in your last relationship. Now here's the key. Cluster B isn't a diagnosis in itself. It's a category for personality disorders marked by emotional intensity, impulsive behaviors, chaotic, unstable relationships. Think of it like the cast of a reality show, the kind that always ends in drama. Loud, unpredictable, sometimes unforgettable. These disorders can overlap, but each one has a core motive. And understanding that motive, that's how you take your power back. We're going to break them down using the 3 R's. Recognize the signs, respond wisely, rewire how you deal with them. Buckle up, Heartriser. Let's go deeper. First up, the narcissist. This word gets thrown around a lot, right? Oh, she's such a narcissist. He's obsessed with himself. But a narcissist isn't just someone who takes selfies or brags online. A true narcissist is someone whose sense of self is like a house made of mirrors, shiny on the outside, hollow inside. They crave admiration, but they can't handle criticism. They want attention, but don't want accountability. Recognize love bombing in the beginning, fast intimacy, grand gestures, sudden I love you. Then comes the criticism, the silent treatment, the guilt trips their favorite tool, gaslighting. You're too sensitive. That's not what I said. You're remembering it wrong. All classic narcissist tactics, Heartriser. Think of Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. He's charming, admired, adored, and until Belle doesn't return his affection. Then he rages. His ego is so inflated that it's actually fragile, or Tony Stark before his redemption arc in Iron Man. Loud, arrogant, emotionally detached, until trauma forces him to grow. These characters show how narcissists often confuse attention for love and ego for identity. Respond, stop chasing their approval. It's a hamster wheel. Don't try to love them into healing. That's not your job. Use the grey rock method. Be boring, neutral, emotionally unreactive. Rewire, rebuild your self-worth outside of them. Journal, talk to safe friends. Set boundaries that don't bend. Heartriser, narcissists aren't monsters, but they're wounds. They'll cut you. If you stay too close, you're not selfish for stepping back, you're smart. Next, the sociopath, or clinically antisocial personality disorder. Here's the truth, Heartriser. Unlike narcissists, sociopaths don't care if you like them. They care if they can use you. They often appear calm, in control, even likable, but underneath, they're emotionally detached, highly manipulative, and often completely without remorse. Recognize no guilt, no conscience. Lies are casual. Manipulation is strategy. Charming, but emotionally cold. Risk-taking, reckless, or even dangerous behavior. Pop culture deep dive. Think Amy Dunn in Gone Girl. She mirrors love to gain your trust, then uses it as a trap. Every word calculated, every move premeditated, or Frank Abagnale from Catch Me If You Can, Leonardo DiCaprio's character. He fakes identities, forges checks, fools the FBI, and feels nothing about it. These characters show us what strategic deception looks like. It's not about love, it's about leverage. Respond. Don't try to outsmart them. That's their playground. Don't show vulnerability. It becomes ammunition. If you're entangled with one legally or emotionally, document everything. Rewire. Trust patterns, not apologies. Build a network that can spot manipulation before you feel it. Sociopaths don't ghost. They discard when you're no longer useful. Now let's talk about borderline personality disorder, or BPD. Often misunderstood, often misrepresented, but very, very real. People with BPD aren't evil. They're overwhelmed by emotion. Their love is intense, and their fear of abandonment is all-consuming. Recognize wild emotional swings, love, rage, idealization, then devaluation. explosive reactions to feeling ignored, impulsive self-destructive behavior during emotional spirals. Pop culture deep dive, Harley Quinn is a powerful metaphor for BPD. She loves deeply, but when abandoned, she spirals. She's chaotic, impulsive, and deeply wounded. Or Jessica Davis from 13 Reasons Why. She wants connection, but can't stabilize it. Trauma shapes her responses. Love feels like pain. These characters show the tragedy and the truth of BPD. There's deep love, but also deep instability. Respond, stay grounded. Don't get pulled into their spirals. Don't shame them, but don't lose yourself either. Don't try to rescue. You're not their rehab. Rewire, set strong emotional boundaries. Be clear, be calm, be consistent. Heart riser, someone with BPD may love you with their whole heart, but if that love destroys you, that's not love, that's trauma talking. Let's break it down real quick, heart riser. Here's the difference between a narcissist, a sociopath, and someone with BPD in plain English. A narcissist wants to be admired. Their biggest fear? Being exposed as not good enough. They feel guilt, but it's shallow, mostly performative. Their empathy, selective, convenient. They manipulate through charm and emotional validation, but it's always about feeding their ego. A sociopath wants control and advantage. Their core fear is powerlessness, and they'll do anything to avoid it. Guilt doesn't exist. Empathy, also gone. Their manipulation is cold and calculated. A strategy, not a feeling. Now, someone with BPD, they just don't want to be left. Their fear of abandonment drives everything. They feel guilt intensely, sometimes too much. Their empathy is overwhelming, but it's unstable. They manipulate without meaning to, through emotional dependency and panic, not malice. So remember, narcissist equals love me or else. Sociopath equals use you or lose you. BPD equals don't leave me, I'll break. Same confusion on the outside. Very different engines on the inside. Here's your truth, heart riser. Labels can save your sanity or destroy someone else's name. Don't weaponize them. Instead of saying, he's a narcissist, say, I was in a relationship where I constantly felt erased and started losing myself. That's clarity, that's power. Use labels as lenses, but not swords. Understand to release, not to control. Let's recap. Heart riser, narcissist, recognize, love bombing, fragile ego, gaslighting, respond, detach from the cycle, rewire, use grey rock, rebuild your identity outside of them. Sociopath, recognize, calculated charm, emotional detachment, respond, protect your energy, rewire, trust patterns, not promises. BPD, recognize abandonment, panic, emotional chaos, respond, stay calm, consistent and self-protective. Rewire, build healthy, loving boundaries that aren't negotiable. You don't need a diagnosis to walk away from pain. If it feels off, it probably is. Heart riser, if this video hit home, if something finally clicked, drop a comment and tell me what part made you say, that's my life. Share this with someone you love, someone who's trying to heal. Subscribe so we can keep breaking it down together. Because clarity is a form of self-defense, and peace, that's your birthright. I'll see you in the next one. In case no one told you today, heart riser, but I want you to know you're not broken, you're healing, and you are worthy of the love you've always given to others.